All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today, we're going exploring how to really become an expert and build a loyal customer base, following, all that good stuff.
Hmm.
So, to guide us on this journey, we've got excerpts today from Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets.
Oh, a good one.
Yeah, it's a really interesting book. And of course, to help us unpack all the goodies, all the insights, and really connect it back to you and how you can use this stuff, we've got our experts.
I'm excited.
I know, right?
Dive in.
Let's do it. So Brunson, as some of you might know, he's the brains behind ClickFunnels, which is this remarkably successful online business platform and software, all that good stuff.
It's been a powerhouse in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of great experience, and his advice, it's not just theory. It's stuff he's actually implemented in the real world.
Oh, for sure. And that's why I love, looking at people who've actually done it because there's a lot of people out there who talk a big game,
Oh, I know.
but they're not actually walking the walk,
Exactly. So that's what we're focusing on today. People who are actually, you know, putting this into practice.
right?
So right up the gate, one of the stories that just grabbed me from the book, it was about Brunson's high school counselor. I mean, can you imagine this? Years after being told by this counselor that he wouldn't amount to anything.
Oh, gosh.
Brunson's mom,
Talk about motivation.
she marches right back into that counselor's office
I love this.
and slams his best-selling book down on the desk.
That's awesome.
I mean, how's that for a told ya so moment,
Right.
right? It just shows that expertise, it isn't always, obvious from the start.
It's not a straight line, is it?
Sometimes it takes a while for that spark to ignite.
Totally. And speaking of journeys, I think Brunson's own path is incredibly inspiring. I mean, think about it. He graduates college with a 2.3 GPA. Now, some people might look at that and think, oh, this person's not cut out for success. But look at him now. He's this massive entrepreneurial success story. And it just goes to show you expertise isn't some innate quality you're born with. It's about putting in the effort, the consistent effort, the deliberate practice to hone those
So
skills.
that brings us to, kind of the first big idea that Brunson really dives into, which is finding your voice.
Hmm.
And he talks about this spark of leadership.
Yeah.
So for those listening who maybe consider themselves introverted or don't naturally feel like those big charismatic leaders,
Right.
how do you tap into that potential? How do you find your voice?
Well, Brunson really emphasizes that leadership isn't something you're just born with. It's a skill you develop over time. It's like a muscle you have to train. And he encourages aspiring experts to embrace what he calls the reporter phase. So it's a period where you actively interview, you learn from established experts in your field, like that speed reader Brunson talks about, the guy who devoured books from every perspective on a topic.
I remember that story.
Right. That's the kind of mindset we should all strive for when we're trying to find our own voice.
It makes total sense because when you gather all these different perspectives, it can only deepen your understanding, right?
Absolutely. And it helps you avoid falling into that trap of dogma,
Yeah. Okay.
sticking to rigid beliefs.
Yeah.
It allows you to cultivate a more nuanced, well-rounded viewpoint.
And speaking of viewpoints, this is a good question for all of us to think about. What are some topics you're really passionate about where exploring different viewpoints, really diving into those different perspectives could actually broaden your understanding and even change how you approach things?
It's a powerful question. I encourage everyone to really think about it.
And that brings us to this other interesting idea that Brunson brings up, which is that just knowing stuff, having the knowledge, it isn't really enough. You need a framework to actually organize and deliver that knowledge effectively. So what is it about these structured systems that make knowledge sharing so much more effective?
It's about making it digestible and applicable for your audience. It's like a roadmap guiding people towards a desired outcome. Take ClickFunnels itself, for example. It's not just software, it's an entire framework for building and growing an online business.
Oh, totally. I mean, even Brunson talks about the importance of testing these frameworks first.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he mentions Tim Ferriss, the human guinea pig
I
author.
love Tim
We
Ferriss.
know, right?
He embodies this perfectly. Testing your framework is crucial. You've got to make sure it's robust, that it actually delivers on its promises.
You don't want to be putting something out there that's, half-baked. It's like selling a cake before it's finished baking. Nobody wants that.
Exactly.
So we've talked about finding your voice, creating frameworks, but how do you connect with the right people? The people who are actually going to benefit from your expertise. Brunson uses this great fishing analogy to illustrate the idea of targeting your dream customer.
Oh, the fishing analogy. I love this one. He basically says that markets are like locations, not just demographics. It's not just about age or gender. It's about finding where your ideal customers already are.
Right. It highlights how much more effective it is to reach your ideal customer where they already congregate, rather than trying to convince everyone to come to you. Like fishing in a well-stocked pond versus casting a wide net in the ocean and hoping for the best.
Makes a lot of sense, right?
Totally.
And then he gets even more specific. He talks about these different types of customers. He calls them diehard, satisfied, and frustrated. And what's interesting is he really suggests focusing on the frustrated segment. Why do you think that is? What makes them such a valuable target audience?
Well, think about it. Frustrated customers, they're actively searching for solutions. They've already encountered issues with existing products or methods, so they're much more receptive to your message and the solution you bring to the table.
They're primed for a new opportunity.
Exactly. They're ready for something different, something better. And Brunson digs into how to position your offering in a way that resonates with them. And this is where he differentiates between what he calls the new opportunity versus the improvement offer.
Right, and the psychology behind it is fascinating. Improvement offers, they often force you to admit your shortcomings.
Oh, I see what you mean.
To acknowledge that you've been doing something wrong, and that can be a blow to your ego.
It can make you feel like you're taking a step backward.
Exactly. New opportunities, on the other hand, they feel fresh, exciting, aligned with progress. It's like embracing the future instead of dwelling on the past.
Like the launch of the iPod. Steve Jobs didn't just offer a better MP3 player. He revolutionized how we listen to music. It was a status symbol, a cultural phenomenon.
And that's the power of a new opportunity. It makes you feel like you're part of something bigger, something innovative.
I love how Brunson uses these real-world examples to really illustrate his points.
It makes it so much more relatable and easier to grasp.
Now, Brunson has this interesting story about how he initially struggled to get through the classic book, Think and Grow Rich. He just couldn't sit down and read it cover to cover.
It can be dense.
But then he discovered the audio version.
Ah, the audio
And
version.
it was like a light bulb went off.
Totally.
And that experience really led him to become a huge advocate for information products as an essential tool for experts. So what is it about information products in all their various forms that makes them so powerful?
I think it's their versatility. They can be books, courses, membership sites, and they serve different purposes. They can generate leads, attract new customers without you having to spend a fortune on advertising.
Oh, interesting. So they can actually help you grow your business without breaking the bank.
Exactly. And they can also increase the perceived value of your other offerings, especially when you bundle them together. Like, imagine buying a software program and then getting access to a bunch of bonus trainer materials.
Oh, that makes you feel like you're getting a great deal.
Right. You feel like you're getting so much more value for your money. So information products, they're not just about sharing knowledge. They're a strategic tool for growing your business and solidifying your expertise.
Now, this next point that Brunson makes, I think it's really crucial. He emphasizes that building a lasting customer base isn't just about transactions. It's about creating a movement, a tribe, as he calls
Oh,
it.
love that concept.
Me too. It's about fostering that sense of community. But why do you think people are so drawn to tribes? What's the psychology behind that need to belong?
Well, at our core, humans crave connection, right? We want to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. And a tribe provides that. It gives us a sense of shared values, a shared mission. And when you add recognition within that tribe, it fuels even more engagement.
It's like Brunson's 2 Comma Club award. It's given to ClickFunnels users who hit $1 million in sales. And it's become this huge motivator.
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to be part of that?
I know, right? It's like a badge of honor.
Exactly. It taps into our desire for achievement and that recognition within the group, and it cleverly gamifies the process. It gives people clear milestones to strive for and a sense of progression within the tribe.
And that brings us to, I think, one of the most powerful concepts in the book. Brunson says that marketing is about rewriting the story inside people's heads. So how does storytelling connect to building influence and inspiring people to actually take action?
This is where it gets really interesting. You see, stories, they're how we make sense of the world. They're how we connect with each other. And a well-told story can change someone's beliefs and actions far more effectively than just presenting them with cold, hard facts.
I remember Brunson's analysis of Magneto's origin story in X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
He says it's so effective because we actually feel Magneto's pain.
Right. It creates empathy.
And that emotional connection, that's what makes the story stick.
Exactly. Facts inform, but stories persuade. If you want to truly influence people, you have to become a skilled storyteller. You have to make them feel something, not just understand something intellectually.
And Brunson actually takes this idea of storytelling and applies it to a classic framework, the hero's journey.
Yeah.
He breaks it down into these phases. You've got the backstory, the problem, the guide, the plan, and the achievement. And what's cool is he positions the listener, the potential customer, as the hero in their own journey.
Right. It's a brilliant approach because it makes the narrative more engaging and relatable. We all want to be the hero of our own story.
And speaking of journeys, Brunson shares this amazing story about presenting to 9,000 people at Grant Cardone's 10X event. Talk about one-to-many selling on a massive scale.
That's a whole other level.
I know, right? And it raises an interesting question. How do you maintain that personal connection, that story-driven approach when you're addressing a crowd that large? It seems almost impossible.
It does, doesn't it? It's like, how do you create intimacy when you're speaking to thousands of people? How do you make each person feel like you're talking directly to them?
Well, Brunson's solution is what he calls the perfect webinar framework. And we're going to dive into all the juicy details of that framework right after this break. So, the perfect webinar framework. It's designed to structure these online presentations, to really maximize engagement and hopefully conversions, get people taking action.
It's a really interesting system, and he starts by emphasizing this concept of the big domino.
Oh, the big domino.
Yeah, and it's essentially that core belief that your audience, they really need to buy into, they need to accept for everything else to kind of click into place, like setting off this chain reaction, this domino effect.
Oh, I get it. So if they accept this one core belief, then everything else becomes easier to accept, to understand.
Right, exactly. Brunson, he puts it really well. He says, if I can convince people that, my new opportunity, it's the key to that result they're craving, and that it's only achievable through, my specific methods, my frameworks, then all the other concerns, all the other objections, they just kind of fade away.
It's like you're giving them the key to unlock that door they've been trying to open.
Right, exactly. And he uses the weight loss industry as a great example, with all the different diets and methods out there. He's like, if I can make them believe that ketosis is the only true path to losing weight and that it's only attainable through my unique framework, then the price, all of a sudden, it becomes irrelevant.
Because they see it as the solution.
Yes.
The only solution.
Right. They're so focused on the outcome that they're willing to invest in what they perceive as the only way to get there. But he doesn't just stop at the big domino. He then introduces these 3 secrets. And they're specifically designed to address and dismantle those common false beliefs that we all have that hold us back from taking action.
Oh, it's like you're preemptively addressing those doubts that creep into our minds when we're considering something new, something different.
Exactly. It's like he's tackling those internal beliefs, those external beliefs, and even that belief in our own ability to actually implement the solution. So, for example, with ClickFunnels, he might address that internal belief that funnels are way too complicated for me, or that external belief that I don't have the tech skills to make this work, and then that implementation belief that I won't have time to set it up properly.
It's like he's covering all the bases.
Right. He's anticipating those objections before they even surface. And for each of these secrets, he recommends sharing what he calls an epiphany bridge story.
Oh, the Epiphany Bridge. Yeah, I remember that.
It's where you basically take the audience on your journey, make them feel the transformation that you went through.
It's about connecting on an emotional level.
Exactly. It's not just about the information, it's about the experience. And then he introduces the stack slide, this visual representation of your offer's value proposition. It's about showcasing all those individual components, the core product, the bonuses, the frameworks, and demonstrating how they work together to create exceptional results.
Oh, like building a skyscraper of value, brick by brick.
Exactly. And he emphasizes revealing the full stack before you even mention the price. And this is brilliant because it anchors their perception of value to that complete package, not just the last item mentioned.
So you're setting the stage for a wow moment when you finally reveal the price.
Right. It's all about framing and perception. Now, throughout the presentation, Brunson also advocates for weaving in what he calls trial closes. These are those subtle questions that you sprinkle in to gauge the audience's buy-in.
Oh, like those little temperature checks along the way.
Exactly. You're checking for understanding, you're preemptively addressing any hesitations before they have a chance to escalate into full-blown objections.
It's about keeping them engaged and moving them towards that decision point.
Right. And he even provides this whole list of closes, tailored to different scenarios. It's like having a secret weapon for overcoming those last-minute doubts that inevitably pop up.
Now, Brunson is a big believer in testing and refining, right? He talks about how in the early days of ClickFunnels, he was using webinars as his main sales tool.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this aha moment where he realized that he was overwhelming people with too much information up front, and that was actually hurting his conversions.
Right, it's easy to fall into that trap, especially when you're passionate about something. You want to share everything you know. But sometimes less is more.
Exactly. He learned that he needed to streamline his presentation, focus on conveying that core value proposition clearly and concisely. And this is a great reminder that even the most brilliant frameworks can benefit from data-driven iteration. You have to be willing to experiment and see what resonates with your audience.
Absolutely. And speaking of resonance, Brunson emphasizes that the power of storytelling, it's not just limited to webinars, it should be woven into every aspect of your business. Epiphany bridge stories in your ads, your email sequences, even those product unboxing videos.
It's like creating this immersive experience where stories are the backbone of your brand and that customer journey.
Exactly. You're creating an emotional resonance that goes beyond just the features and benefits of your product or service.
It's about connecting on a human level. And he even takes this idea a step further, introducing the 5-minute perfect webinar. It's a condensed version of his framework, ideal for shorter form content like Facebook Lives or those quick sales videos.
And he proves it works. He used this approach to win a sales contest, generating $250,000 in revenue in just 3 days. And get this, with only 15 minutes of prep time.
That's incredible. Talk about efficiency. It just goes to show the adaptability and the power of this framework.
Right. It's a testament to focusing on the core elements and delivering them with impact. And to tie it all together, Brunson outlines how to integrate expert secrets into your overall value ladder. So it's about mapping specific storytelling elements onto different stages of the customer journey.
Oh, so it's like using stories to initially attract leads, nurture those relationships, convert prospects into buyers, and then ascend them to those higher ticket offers.
Exactly. It's leveraging narratives throughout that entire customer lifecycle.
Creating that cohesive and engaging experience. It's not just about the individual touch points, it's about the entire journey.
Right. It's about building a relationship that evolves over time. And finally, Brunson brings it all home with this final secret: testing your presentation live, getting that real world feedback, iterating based on how the audience responds.
He talks about how he delivered his very first ClickFunnels webinar at a friend's event, and he was completely blown away by the response.
He realized he had struck a chord.
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't know until you put it out there.
Right, audience feedback is invaluable. It's how you refine your message and make sure it's hitting the mark.
And he mentions this woman, Mary Ellen Tribby, who helped scale a company from $11 to $67 million in sales in just 1 year. And her secret weapon: rigorous split testing, data-driven optimization.
It just goes to show you, even the most experienced marketers, they rely on data to validate their assumptions and refine their approach.
It's not just about gut feeling, it's about evidence-based iteration.
Exactly. Now, in wrapping up, Brunson connects expert secrets back to that hero's journey framework.
Right, bringing it full circle.
He reminds us that as experts, our role is to guide our dream customers on their own hero's journeys. We need to understand their backstories, acknowledge their challenges, and then present them with a clear path toward achieving their ultimate desires.
It's like we're those mentors, those guides, helping them overcome those obstacles and emerge as transformed individuals.
And he emphasizes the importance of providing ongoing support and accountability. It's not just about that one-time transaction. It's about fostering a lasting relationship. It's about building that trust and celebrating those shared successes.
He even tells this great anecdote about a wrestling coach who refused to give him a training tape for free. The coach insisted that investment breeds commitment.
It's a powerful reminder that valuing your expertise and setting clear expectations from the start, it creates a win-win scenario for both you and your customers. They're more likely to succeed when they have skin in the game.
Now, before we move on to our final takeaways for our listeners, I wanted to touch on one more point Brunson makes. It's about the power of information products. He talks about how information products like online courses or ebooks can be this incredible way to start building your tribe, attracting those dream customers we were talking about.
Well, definitely.
They're not just about sharing the knowledge. It's about, like, positioning yourself as the expert, giving people a taste of what it's like to actually work with you.
It's like a low barrier entry point, People
Yeah.
can experience your expertise firsthand without having to commit to a high-ticket program or something.
Oh, I like that. Try before you buy. but for like knowledge and expertise.
Exactly. It gives them a chance to see if they vibe with your teaching style, if your frameworks actually make sense for their needs.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So big picture, if we were to distill all these amazing insights from expert secrets, what's that one thing you'd tell our listeners to really focus on? That one actionable piece of advice they can take away from this deep dive?
If I had to pick just one, it would be to master the art of storytelling. Brunson, he hammers this home throughout the book. Stories are the most powerful way to connect with people, build belief, and ultimately drive action. What's one story you could tell right now that would showcase your expertise, really resonate with your ideal customer?
That's such a great question. It really forces you to think about what makes you you,
It
right?
does. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you communicate it.
So, to everyone listening, if you want to go deeper, explore all of Brunson's frameworks and storytelling techniques, definitely check out Expert Secrets, the book. It's packed with great stuff.
It's a game changer. And remember, becoming an expert, it's not like reaching the finish line. It's an ongoing journey. It's about constantly learning, sharing, and refining what you do.
Beautifully said. Before we wrap up, I thought it might be helpful to recap the key takeaways. Just give folks a little cheat sheet they can refer back to. Ready?
Get me with it.
All right, here are 10 key takeaways from Expert Secrets. Number 1, discover your voice. Embrace that reporter phase. Learn from the pros and find that unique perspective that's all you. 2, build those frameworks. Organize your knowledge into clear systems that guide people towards specific outcomes. 3, test those frameworks. Make sure they actually work before you unleash them on the world. 4, target your dream customer. Focus your energy on reaching the right people, the ones who are most likely to benefit from your expertise. 5, prioritize the frustrated. Those are the folks who are actively seeking solutions, the ones who are most receptive to your message. 6, offer new opportunities. Don't just try to improve on what's already out there. Create something fresh, something exciting. 7, leverage information products. Use books, courses, membership sites to generate leads, gain new customers, and increase the overall value of what you offer. 8, cultivate a tribe. Build a community around your expertise. Give people a sense of belonging, shared values, a place where they feel supported and understood. 9, become a master storyteller. Captivate those hearts and minds with stories that inspire action and transform beliefs. And 10, continuously test and refine. Always be gathering feedback, tweaking your approach to maximize your impact.
That's a fantastic summary. Really captures the essence of what Brunson's all about.
Thanks. Well, a huge thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into expert secrets. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to share your expertise with the world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep sharing those unique gifts of yours.